Awesome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to T-Chat, formerly known as Non-Binary Chat. As you can see, I'm a new face at Mosaic. My name is Quinn. My pronouns are he/him, and I am an outreach specialist here at Mosaic. Today we are joined by Oliver Licking. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Oliver Licking. My pronouns are they and them. I am the Gender Equity Policy Manager, but in that role I've also been legal clinic coordinator for the last 3 years, and I'm managing that program now.
Awesome, thank you. For those that don't know, give us an overview of the legal clinics.
For sure. So the Ohio Name Change Legal Clinic is a free program that's existed since probably about 2016. It's a program in coordination with the great folks at TransOhio, who came up with the idea and then brought on Equitas Health as an early partner, and we've been working together ever since. It's a free once-a-month legal clinic, and what that means is you are, at least for our legal clinic, you are getting assistance with how to figure out what this looks like. How does one get their name legally changed for a resident in the state of Ohio? We work with adults or minors. It's one of the few programs that Equitas is involved with that does work with minors. We also will assist with gender marker changes. And it's not just going to be the Ohio-specific things. We'll also help you with your federal documents. So name change goes through probate courts, right? That's kind of like a county-by-county thing. Whereas Social Security, that's like a federal program. So we can assist with all of those different touch points.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a great overview. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what would you say the differences are of doing this through the clinic versus doing it oneself?
For sure. So these are great questions, by the way. I think the biggest difference with doing it yourself versus coming through the clinic is either way, you're filing what's called pro se. And I know this is jargony stuff. What that means is you're filing by yourself without an attorney. Even if you come through us, you do have an attorney you're getting to talk to, but we're just telling you how to fill it out, and you have the opportunity to ask legal questions from a person who is qualified to answer. So the main difference is you have that one-on-one opportunity to talk about it with a live attorney or a paralegal who can bring an attorney into the room if you're having what they would consider is a legal question, versus doing it yourself. Many people can and do file by themselves every single day perfectly successfully, especially for name changes in the state of Ohio. If you want kind of an in-between option, freely available on the Equitas website is the guide to name change for Ohio residents. If you open it, you might feel intimidated because it's a really long document. It's over 10 pages long, but it's in nice, everyday, easy to understand language. It's not just in all that lawyery jargon that no one understands. And it talks you through step by step. Okay, you want to do your name change. You start here. You go from there to this point. All right, now do you want to get your name changed only from there, or do you need your name and gender marker corrected? And then it tells you, because it's a little bit different between whether you're doing one or the other, or both. So then we kind of break it down for each and everything you could imagine might need change, and hopefully we also cover some stuff in that guide that you maybe didn't consider a name change is relevant to, for instance, like your credit report. The other difference I would say for coming through the name change clinic is, while it's pretty easy to DIY your name change, and I should also open with, I am not an attorney, so nothing that I'm saying here today, either of us, is legal advice. But coming through the clinic, you do have that opportunity to talk to an attorney, someone who can give you legal advice. We also assist with Ohio birth certificates. So whether you're a resident of Ohio or just a person who's already left Ohio, but happened to have been born in Ohio and that gender marker's been waiting, we can talk you through how to do that. And that's a huge difference, I think, between DIYing versus coming through us. Is I don't want to scare people about what the birth certificate change process is like for someone who wants to get their gender marker corrected on that. But it is more complicated in Ohio. There's some added complexity because there's a good chunk of the state that is currently refusing to help you process that. That doesn't mean you're out of options. You might actually have options you're not aware of. So my job is to help collect your information, understand your situation, and then talk you through, like, yes, actually I think we can help you, even though you think you're in a situation where you were born in a county you might have heard is a bad county for getting this done in, right? There's other venues and some ways that we might be able to help guide you through what your options are from there. And that's just complicated enough of a process that I encourage people, like, if you want to DIY, I want people to have that spirit of doing that. I have so much concern for how complicated birth certificates have gotten in Ohio. We're completely free. I know that it's a little bit of a 2-month wait, but the folks with TransOhio and myself and our independent volunteers really do want to help you all get this done and be successful, because there's a lot of judges who maybe don't want you to be successful in that birth certificate correction. I rambled a little, so forgive me, everyone.
No, that was great. Definitely had me thinking of another question. So, if you can answer this, if somebody had done it DIY and were having issues with that birth certificate change, would they then be able to sign up for the legal clinic to help them sort that out?
People can always come. Now, when you're coming through to our legal clinic, we're not promising any outcome rate. We are hoping that we can help you be successful, but we're not promising that we're going to give you success. We have 100% success rate on helping people file with their name changes. If you're running into issues with your name change or your birth certificate, even whether you had contact with the clinic or not, please contact us. We might be able to help talk you through what the issues might be, or at least get you in conversation with an attorney. If I could just talk us up, like James Knapp at TransOhio is I think probably one of the most experienced attorneys in trans-related legal issues in the state. I'm biased because I've worked with him for years, but he is the supervising attorney of the clinics. He's so darn knowledgeable. He has all of this minute information that he just keeps stored in his brain, right down to the different judges and magistrates just about in every single county. We have 88. Please contact us and we will try really hard. If we can, we will try to help you.
Yeah, so you did bring up different counties and stuff in Ohio. Are the laws or this process different throughout the different counties in Ohio?
It is. So we have 88 counties in Ohio, and while Ohio does have a standard set of what's called Supreme Court probate forms for various individual courts who don't want to come up with their own process, we do have something called judicial discretion. And what that means is, in our state, individual judges at every single probate court, and there's a probate court assigned to every one of the counties, and they handle certain matters like name change, birth certificate corrections, marriage licenses, and other matters. They have the right, if they want to add their own flavor, to make their own unique applications. Sometimes they claim that they're unique applications, but all they did was just take the Supreme Court standard form, but they just added an extra line to the top of it, and that's the only difference. It has the potential to be either minutely different from county to county or humongously different from county to county. Some counties feel like they need to make it kind of a difficult process to get your name change done, and they ask for a really high level of documentation to prove that you are who you say you are. Other counties say, hey, we're just asking you not to lie. Are you telling us the truth that you are this person and you are seeking a name change, right? And then they'll say well, you don't want to lie to a court. That's called perjuring yourself. So we're hoping that you're going to take that seriously when you sign this application. And so the court would be like, that's fine. Whereas another one that wants to really have you prove who you are is going to maybe ask you to spend the money on a background check beforehand. So it can be really, really different from county to county. And it is, it's different from county to county. It's different for adults and minors in every single county, or has the potential to be. Okay. And then the birth certificate situation, if you're a person who's born in Ohio, the landscape is really different from space to space.
Okay. Cool. That's good to know, especially because you would think Ohio would be the same across the board. But
you know what's really funny about that too is most states are, I don't want to say most. Many states I don't have knowledge of the entire country. Many states, including far redder states, which I would normally assume would be like more difficult to get this kind of stuff done in. They just have one standard process. You still seek a name change in your probate court, but they only have one application that applies to the whole state. And so the process looks the same, no matter where you are living in those other states. I know that's the case. Last I checked, in Arizona, a few weeks ago. Ohio is really unique that we allow so much judicial discretion between county to county.
Oh, okay.
And costs are different. It costs money to get this done, and so the prices range between $75 to $400 for a name change application.
That's quite a difference.
It's really different. It's real different. Yeah.
So you did mention about changes to the birth certificate if you were born in Ohio, but what would like Ohio transplants have to do with, or would Ohio transplants be able to benefit from the legal clinics at all?
Are we talking about people who were born in Ohio but live somewhere else?
People
or other way around?
Other way around. So people who were born in a different state but now live in Ohio.
Yeah, so if you live in Ohio and you haven't changed your name or gender marker, either one, in the state, we can help you with the vast majority of your documents. But if you were born in another state, legally we're not allowed or able to help with matters that are specific to another state. So I guess I could just make up a person. So like Jane Doe is a trans woman who was born in West Virginia but lives in Ohio, has lived here for the last year, and is coming through the name change clinic, hasn't gotten any of her ID documents done. We can help her get name change done, BMV, passport if she wants one, Social Security, understand how to update things on like the credit bureaus and bank, and how to talk to HR and everything else. We wouldn't be able to give very much guidance, though, on what to do about that West Virginia birth certificate, because we only have Ohio attorneys, so they're only allowed to talk about matters related to Ohio, if that makes sense. If we know of groups like us in other states that exist in the state you're born in, we will certainly send you there. I wish we had a collection of orgs like us in every single state in the United States. Groups like us are actually kind of uncommon, is what I've heard from my colleagues at TransOhio, is that it's kind of a special and unique thing that our clinic exists, and people come away a little bit, in our humble opinion, a little more prepared from our clinic than many other clinics in the country.
Well, hey, something good for Ohio.
Yeah.
I had another question. Yeah, so what would you say like the importance of these clinics, especially to people of the trans experience?
Oh my goodness. So there's so much more to being trans than just getting your name change done. So I know this is kind of like a one-note discussion, right? Your transition is real and true whether or not your ID documents say the name that I'm going to call you, or that anyone else in society should be calling you, and so forth. That said, it does make your life a little bit easier. If a name change is something that you know that you want, I can say as a person who changed my own name many years ago, what a sigh of relief it is that I don't get, confused interactions when I maybe make an order of coffee at a coffee shop, and their POS, their point of sale system, just pulls the name from my credit card. It pulls the right name now for me. That I can just breathe a sigh of relief that the gender marker might be a little bit closer to what is true for me, or for anyone else. So I guess I'm jumping into some I statements. I found that it was incredibly helpful and affirming to know that when I'm dealing with situations that are a little bit stressful, spending money stresses me out. I'm not also including that mix of, and now someone knows my old name, right? Well, I'm also spending money, or interacting with a lease. If we're applying to jobs, how many times we know the stats aren't good for the underemployment of folks with trans experience, right? Frequently folks are underemployed. Many trans folks or non-binary folks are sitting under the poverty line, and so forth. It's one small piece, but then if your name matches your identity a little bit closer, it probably, like, I know for me, it feels like it helps a lot in those situations of, like, applying to jobs, applying for public benefits, and so forth.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I would say the same thing for me, like having, because I got my name changed also many years ago, being able to, like you said, with job applications, because companies are slowly getting to the point where it's like, what, you know, your legal name versus what you want us to actually call you, but like a lot of companies aren't there yet. So
Yeah.
and then also, you know, just putting that in, even though even if they aren't going to use that, you still don't want people to know.
I feel like it can't be understated, the safety aspect of it too, right? Who are the types of people that we interact with, that we have to show our IDs to?
Yeah.
If you have to have an interaction with cops, it's great if you don't have to have an interaction that's about your transness, ideally. And that reduces a little bit if you're able to get ID that kind of matches the gender presentation that you're wanting to put out into the world. And not to minimize like a non-binary experience, there's no good way to pass as a non-binary person. For folks who want to change stuff to get stuff a little bit closer, I know that the gender marker stuff can be kind of fraught for non-binary folks.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so we went into kind of like how the laws can differ from county to county. How often would you say like these laws are changing? Or are they changing?
I want to be careful. I don't know that law is actually the correct term for this. Now that I ponder this. So do forgive me. There might be a different legal term for that, but yeah, the gist of it being like the requirements related to name change. I think small things change related to name change. I don't see radical changes with that. Other than things getting slightly easier. So I've done this position since 2019. Working with the legal clinics. What I have seen since then is it used to have to prove your residency for a really long time in the particular county you were living in before you could do your name change. And so, you know, if folks are a little more transient, they're moving addresses, and they were maybe like popping back and forth across county lines. That's really easy to do in Cincinnati. Cincinnati, as a city, has like 2 or 3 counties intersecting it. So just changing your block, you could change your city. Or hop into Kentucky for a little bit even, right? And when you had to wait, I believe it was 12, it used to be, you had to wait a year before you could change your name in that county, in a county, so you had to show you were residing there for that long. It's not common for the rest of the country, so Ohio caught up. We love being a little late to this stuff, and then they asked for it to only be a 2-month residency. That was a huge change for the better. The prices go up from year to year. Maybe only $10 or $20. Every now and then they get lower. Franklin was one that lowered their cost when they made some shifts to their process. The state stated that you used to have to go through this extra step to get your name change done. They said, judges, you're allowed to still require this step if you want to, but you're no longer required to. And then we saw very quickly the really friendly counties jump on to, well, we're no longer requiring that extra step, which like made it go faster. So stuff is changing. I feel like we've gotten like one change about 1 change a year. Mostly I've seen good positive changes for the name change process, other than the price going up, because the courts like up their fees. Birth certificates are changing almost I feel like every other month. Something different is happening in that environment, which is again why the lawyers I work with would caution you to be pretty careful. And we're a free resource. We would love to talk to you and help you. If you would like some help with that, we would like to help you with that one in particular, given how quickly that landscape is changing.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
How many people like a month would you say the legal clinics like help or?
Yeah. We do 1 clinic virtually per month. We would love to expand that a little bit more in the future, but that's about what we're doing at the moment. And we help, in the last 3 years, we've helped an average of 20 to 45 people per clinic. Something like 25 to 35 is the most common number per month. I'm proud that we've gotten it to those numbers. It used to, any amount of people was worth helping, but we used to only help like 3 to 5 people per month, so that was a nice shift.
Yeah. Were the legal were the legal clinics always virtual, or was that more of a change that came when COVID hit?
Oh my gosh, well, so that's a COVID change, but I need to shout out TransOhio again. I joined this position just a little bit before COVID came into collective consciousness for us in the world. And I remember connecting with James as I entered this position in the fall of 2019. And he was just like, honestly, I've been saying for years, I would love to have these clinics virtually. And I was like, I would love that too. Oh my God, I'm still learning this position. I don't even begin to know how we would do that. Let me get my sea legs and maybe we can talk about it. Maybe we'll have a meeting and we can talk about it. Do you have ideas how we would even do that? Well, I don't know. Phone calls. I'm like, oh, okay. Our clinic that was supposed to be in March of 2020 was set for Cleveland, which I don't know if anyone remembers. That's where the first known positive COVID cases existed in Ohio. Was in Cuyahoga County, with something like 5 people who came off of like a very notable cruise ship that everyone got sick with COVID on. And so I saw that about 9 days before the clinic was due to happen at the ACLU offices in Cleveland, and I looked at that. And I talked to my leadership and was like, please let me put this virtual. We're going to get told we have to probably. And they eventually gave me clearance to try to figure out a way to make it virtual, and had some tweaks. But it's been, pretty helpful for a really long time to be virtual. If I could add a little note about that.
Of course.
I know that that's not accessible to everyone. Myself and my colleagues at TransOhio know that not everyone feels like that's a super accessible option. Just so you know what you're signing up for. If you see the word virtual and you get a little nervous, like maybe you're feeling like I'm not super good at computers, or I don't have good internet access, how am I going to do this? As a virtual clinic, we can work with you over a phone call or over a Zoom call. If those are not, depending on what works better for your preference and or your connection. If you're in a situation where you're like, that's not feeling super possible to me either, please, let me know. We can try to figure out some other way to walk you through it. If I know enough ahead of time, I can get real creative with solutions to try to mimic the in-person experience as much as possible, until a time where we can maybe be getting out into the public again. Though our capacity is going to have to change a little bit before we can do that. But let us know if you need an accommodation. If I figure out that you're somewhere relatively close to another Equitas office, I could ask nicely for a colleague to loan you their laptop and maybe a desk at the office after hours, because these run from 6 to 8 p.m. So you can have the Zoom experience with also maybe a staff person there to help you if you get confused on how to log into Zoom, right? There's a lot of stuff we could do to try to mitigate to minimize the challenge of interacting with a virtual experience. If that's something that is giving you some pause, just let us know so we can try to make it better.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good to know. Especially, I know there's a lot of people who either don't have access to great internet connection or computer even. So that's good to know. So about. I know you mentioned a little bit about when they happen and how they happen, but could you go over how often the legal clinics are and when they happen and how to sign up?
Yeah, so we, with the exception of it ever landing on a holiday, we tend to host these on the second Wednesday of every single month. So the next clinic will be next week on June 14th. We're already full on that one, but that's about the cadence you can expect. You can find information about the dates either through Facebook. TransOhio kindly posts all of our events for the Ohio Name Change Legal Clinic, as well as you can find it on the Equitas website under the Legal Clinics tab. You can find the dates for the full year. We've got that listed out, as well as how to sign up. Was that part of the question was about the signing up? Yeah, so you sign up, basically just know if you find us on Facebook, registering as going on the Facebook event doesn't mean I know. that you want to come to the clinic. I very much need you to fill out the intake and consent form. They're available online. It's just a link that you click and you fill out your information. It gives me the information I need to parse out like how to help you because of all of the different processes in 88 counties, and all the different birth certificate potential situations from where you were born versus where you live and everything else. And if that's hard, if that's not accessible, my phone number and email address is posted on the website. You can reach out to me and say, I'm having trouble doing the intake form, but I need help. And like, if phone calls are accessible or we can email, like, we'll get connected and I can like help you fill out the intake form if that's like a challenge too.
That's good that you're able to help people. So make it as low entry as or low barrier as possible.
Oh yeah, from the beginning of making them virtual, I was really worried about this being an inaccessible thing to folks. I think my very first clinic that I made an online intake form for because it had never been online before. Someone was just like, I don't know how to click a link and do this thing. Like this is too confusing. And I was like, okay, are you comfy with a phone call? Well, yes, I am. Let's have a phone call. Can you talk right now? Well, yes, I can. Okay. I'm going to fill it out with your consent. Do you consent? Okay, I'm going to read you this form, and I'm going to type the answers just as you tell me. You know, and then we've been doing that for years. It's very easy for us.
Awesome. That's so great. Well, what else would you like people to know about the clinics? I just have to say I'm so proud of the work that I get to do serving my community with these clinics. It's a ray of hope that this feels like something that I can help a trans person with, right? There's so much stuff that can feel a little hopeless. I'm also just so proud that I get to do these with TransOhio. I'm so thankful that the folks at TransOhio, through their various iterations of leadership, have wanted us as a partner to assist with them, making these legal clinics happen, that I've had the privilege of working with their most recent, over the last several years. The chair of TransOhio, James Knapp, our supervising attorney and co-partner of the clinics. We work really hard to make this a good, easy, accessible situation to learn about this process, and you're in really, really good hands, especially just with the efforts of TransOhio and James Knapp to help us with it. So thank you for trusting us, and keep bringing your questions or coming your way with needing help with this stuff. I'm here to help. Awesome. Yeah, thank you, TransOhio and James Knapp, and also Oliver. These legal clinics are awesome and definitely needed. I'm glad that Ohio is kind of at the forefront of clinics like this in the country. But yeah, that's the end of our interview with Oliver. Thank you so much again. As you may have noticed, we used to be Non-Binary Chat. We've rebranded to T-Chat. If you have any topics that you want to hear us talk about, let us know. Reach out either on Facebook, Instagram, or email us at mosaic@equitashealth.com. And thanks. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.